Hey fellow designers and or brides to be, it's Karen of Karen Gwen Customs. Today I am giving you guys a tutorial on how to make your own wedding veil. So if you are a fashion designer who is wanting to learn how to make bridal veils, or if you're getting married and you want to DIY your own veil, this video is for you. So stay tuned, but before you do, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. The notification bell, change it from personalized to all so you get notified every time I upload one of these helpful videos. Be sure to share this content with a friend who may be interested in my material. And if you're interested in sewing, join my Facebook sewing group, KGC Sewing Patterns. Let's get started. This is a simple tutorial that doesn't require the use of a sewing machine at all. So let's go over our materials really quickly. First, you're gonna need a decorative band comb. This is the one that my bride actually brought to me. She ordered it from Etsy, and we're gonna be attaching the veil to this comb. Secondly, you're going to need a needle and thread because you're gonna do a little bit of hand sewing. You're also going to need a strip of tulle. I have this roll of tulle because I just happen to have it. You do not have to buy a roll of tulle. When you purchase your tulle, you can literally just buy enough that you have a string because you're going to be stretching the tulle like this and wrapping it around the band comb. And of course, you'll need a pair of scissors. You will need a big piece of tulle for the veil. And I know it might be hard to see me cutting this on camera, so I am going to insert a diagram so you guys know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. The tulle is folded along this edge. So we have the tulle. This is actually 2 layers. This is gonna be a 1-layer tulle veil. So the veil is actually going to be a total of 50 inches wide. So this is doubled, it's 25 inches long, but it's a total of 50 inches. And then it's 30 inches long because that's how long I want the veil to be. And you can add or take away from the length as you need. And also, you will need, if you want to decorate your tulle or if you want to decorate your veil, you will need some lace trim. And I actually have a bunch of this left over from the lace that I used for the wedding dress that this veil is going to go along with. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do, you want to have your tulle doubled. Remember, this is 50 inches doubled, so it's 25 inches and a total of 30 inches long. I have the folded edge facing away from me, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim the edge of the veil so that it is curved and not just a big square or rectangle, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just placing some pins to guide myself. I'm gonna try to cut it as straight as possible. But I am using these pins as a guide. And let me take out my good scissors. These scissors are called scissor tailed. I got these from Amazon. And so here's the folded edge of the tulle back here. Here's the raw edge, and I'm just going to kind of start cutting. I don't know if I want to go up that high. I'm actually going to start cutting down here because I just want it to be not rectangular along the edge. And cut as carefully as you can so that it's kind of straight, because you don't want any ugly, like, jagged edges. Okay, so I actually left a little bit more length than where I put my pins. And I just kind of used my eye for judgment, so actually don't even worry about doing any pins. Our tulle kind of has like a curved edge, as you can see over here by my dress buttons. And if you want to curve it even more, you can. It's your personal preference. I think I actually will. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so that's how I have cut the edge of the veil. And the next thing you're gonna do is unfold the top. So this is the top of the veil. It's a total of 50 inches wide because we're now going to be gathering this. And you're gonna get your needle and thread. Oops. Here's the thread, and you're just going to thread your needle with a long length of thread. And then tie a knot at the bottom. And to knot my thread, I just loop it around my finger and then pull until it makes a knot. All right, so you're gonna pick your tool up along the top edge, and you're just gonna start at one end, and you're going to stick the needle through, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because you're gonna gather it. See how it's starting to gather? So you're just gonna keep doing that all the way across the top of the tool. Now, I haven't tried this on my sewing machine, but if you have the gathering foot attachment, it might do the exact same job, but I just wanted to keep this tutorial as beginner friendly as possible. So we're gonna do it the old fashioned way with hand needle and thread, going all the way across this 50-inch width. And every so often, you're just gonna pull your needle all the way through. Almost done here. All right. So as you can see, we have gathered our tulle across the top like so. And our band comb is about 2 inches wide. So I just want to spread this out so that it's about the same width. And that's about 2 inches right there. So I'm just gonna tie a knot. With my thread. I'm gonna tie a few knots actually, because when I hand sew, I'd like to tie like 5, 6, 7 times because I'm always paranoid and wanting to make sure that it doesn't come undone. So just tie however many knots you are comfortable with and then snip it off. All right, and the next thing that we're going to do, and then you want to tug it and make sure it doesn't come undone. So here is our veil, and we have it gathered at the top. The next thing that you're gonna do is prepare your band comb so that you can sew the veil onto it. Next, you're going to take your strip of tulle. I'm just going to cut, I don't even know how much I need. I'm just going to cut, this is like 35 inches. And I'm just going to cut it right there. And I think this is a little bit too wide. This is actually 9 inches wide. And I'm just going to cut it in half down the center because the tulle that I am attaching to the band comb, I don't want it to be too wide. So let's say that you need a long strip of tulle that is about 4.5 inches wide or so. And I'm just coming down and cutting mine down the center so that I have that skinny strip of tulle. All right, so now I have a strip of tulle that's like 35 inches wide, which is probably more than what I need, and it's about 4.5 inches tall. Or actually 35 inches wide, 35 inches tall, 4.5 inches wide. Now you're gonna pull your tulle tight so that it kind of becomes a string. And pick a space that's not all the way to the end, but kind of towards the middle. And pull your tulle through the space from back to front. Then you'll go next space over and bring it through to the back. Next space over and bring it through to the front. Then when you get to the end, you're gonna wrap it around and go all the way back across in the same pattern until you get to the other end. And what we're doing here is creating a band of fabric on our comb so that we have something to sew our veil to. And then once you get to this end, just bring it back through a couple times to secure it. Oops, skipped one. And I'm just gonna cut this here. So yeah, I had like a lot of tulle left over after I cut it. But anyways, you cut it like so, and then what I'm gonna do is just fold these down like this, and then I'm going to again take my needle and thread, and I'm just gonna put a few stitches in to secure that. All right, so just holding this down like so, and I'm just going to stick my needle and thread through there and do a few stitches around and around to make sure that this doesn't come undone. Just make a knot here. Okay, hopefully that's enough knots to hold it. Snip, and then I'm going to snip these excess pieces of tulle off as well. Okay, so now we have a fabric band on our comb that we can secure our veil to. The next thing you're gonna do is take your veil and instead of sewing the veil on like this, because the comb is gonna go down into her hair like so, you don't want this raw edge to show. So you're gonna flip it over and sew the veil to the comb upside down. So that way you don't have those ugly raw edges showing. If you have a serger, this is probably something you could serge as well. But again, I wanna keep this as beginner friendly as possible. So I'm going to take my needle and just insert it upwards through the veil tool, and then insert it back through, and make sure it's going through your tool as you do this. Be careful that your thread doesn't get tangled with your comb pieces. And make sure you do it tightly enough so that you still have a decent amount of comb to go through the bride's hair. Okay, so I have sewn through this one time. I'm gonna go back across the comb one more time just to make sure it's secure enough. But real quick, I'm gonna flip this over and show you guys what it looks like. Very beautiful. So this is how it's gonna look when it's placed into her hair. So you'll see this little decorative piece up here, and then you'll just see the tool just falling down cleanly with no raw edges exposed. So I'm just gonna go back across this one more time just to make sure it is secure. All right, so I've secured this twice. Now I'm going to tie my knots to make sure that it doesn't unravel. Snip. And just pushing all of these back to the top as far as I can. And that is beautiful. So now I'm going to lay this down. Okay, so you saw that we got the tulle veil attached to our band comb. And so now I'm just going to lay it down and kind of place some lace pieces on it. So what I want to do is find the center, and I could have done this probably before I attached it, but it's up to you what order you want to do it in. So I'm kind of going to find the center, which is right here. And I want to place a piece here. Let me put a pin where the center is. Do I want to place it sideways or like that? Probably sideways. But I'll pin it and then hold it up and see what looks good. So yeah, I'm just going to place some pins in it, because I am going to have to sew these down. That's one. I'll put one here. Okay, this is my last time changing my mind, and I promise I do this all the time when I'm making anything related to bridal and lace pieces. I really like how the lace looks connected like it is in the center back, so I'm going to do that all the way around the edge of the veil. Yeah, so just setting myself up for extra work, but it's all going to work out because it's going to be beautiful. So I'm about to repin this, and then I'm going to start sewing it down. So yeah. Maybe third time's a charm. So I finished pinning all the lace where I want it to be, and this is how the veil looks held up to the dress. I think I'm ready to go ahead and hand sew everything down. Okay, I'm not going to record the entire process of me sewing every single piece because I am binge watching Real Housewives and I want to get back to that while I work. But I do want to show you guys what it looks like to sew one of these pieces on. It's very simple. Even if like you haven't sewn before, this is a very easy skill to pick up, the hand stitching portion of it. So if you just wanted something plain and you just wanted the tulle veil, you could stop before you even get to this part. But if you want to add some razzle dazzle and put some lace pieces on, this is how you do it. So I got my needle and thread and I tied a knot like I did before. And you're just going to go up under the bottom and stick it through. And just start sewing along the outer edge. And you're just going to stick your needle in and out. Make sure your threads are being pulled all the way. Not too tight, but not too loose. In and out, in and out. And if it gets tangled, you kind of just pull it back. That's why you can't go too fast because you can end up getting a knot in your thread. With pieces like this, you want to make sure that you try to follow the tendrils or the little branches of the lace that kind of stick out. You don't want to make the process too tedious, but you also want to make it so that your all the pieces that stick out are secure. And that's something to keep in mind when selecting lace appliques. If there are a million teeny tiny little branch thingies that are sticking out, it's going to take you a lot longer to sew everything down than if you get something where the pieces are, you know, bigger along the edges. Actually, this piece right here has gotten short enough. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. The longer the thread, the better, but longer pieces also are easier to get tangled. So just keep that in mind when deciding how long to cut your thread pieces. But once they get to be short, you want to make sure you leave yourself enough space to tie those knots to secure it. And then you just rethread your needle and continue the process.
When I am done sewing everything down,
Going down all the lace pieces, I decided to trim away the tulle around the outer edges of the lace for a more clean look. Thank you guys for tuning in for Vlogmas Day 3 on how to make your own DIY wedding veil. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a friend who may be interested in my content. Change that notification bell from personalized to all so you get notified every time I upload one of those helpful videos. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 4.